it's just insane though, because like I said, they start talking about diseases. 440,000 people die of diseases caused by smoking. That has no basis on e-cigarettes. None. Okay?
Yeah.
They have now lumped this in with all tobacco products. And so now all of the faults of these tobacco products are now our faults as well. And so the rest of this is just fodder. You know, it's absolutely just useless information. Okay? I pray that Judge Jackson, I believe she has a brain. Okay? I don't think she can be a federal court judge and not have a brain. Alright? She has actually ruled against the FDA in the past, so there's hope. Okay? There's extreme hope. I pray that she reads this and finds it as insulting as we do. Mainly because they flat out told her, you don't have any authority over me.
Yeah.
And as a judge, from what I know of judges in general, when you're in a judge's courtroom, that judge sitting on the bench is God. Okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
And I realize that might be a little sacrilegious to some of you people, but the fact is, when you're inside that courtroom, he or she up on the bench is God. What he or she says goes, period.
You know, there's that wonderful thing in courts of law in the United States called contempt. And the judge, generally speaking, will issue you warnings before they actually throw out a contempt charge.
They don't have to.
They don't have to. And literally, you can be put in jail for a contempt charge because the judge doesn't like the way that you're dressed.
They are God in the courtroom. That room is. Just don't even think about it. Don't think about going again. Don't argue with the judge. Don't. And I can even attest to this because I was on Judge Joe Brown, and he was the most arrogant sumbitch I have ever met in my life. Didn't let me speak. Didn't even go over my court case the way it was supposed to be gone over. Focused on something he wasn't even allowed to focus on, and did not award me the amount of money that I was deserved because he focused on this one thing that he wasn't even allowed to focus on because it was actually that was handled in a criminal court, not a civil court. Okay, but when I attempted to correct him, I was told, like, no. Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Okay. The judge has the final say, and the judge, if you insult the judge, you're fucked. And I do find this extremely insulting. I find this extremely insulting to the judge and to the court of the United States. Federal court.
Yeah, Judge Jackson, she's got a very colored history with governmental agencies, the FDA in particular, because that's what is directly regarding our situation. She hears FDA cases about as often as Irie Wick. She's nothing new to FDA cases, but I have yet to see a case go in front of her that has been this full of gall.
And it's to me, it seems obvious that they have thrown, because what I didn't tell you guys is that the introduction of this thing actually starts on page 16, okay?
Yeah, because you've got all the references and all that.
15 pages of this. First 15 pages is listed out. Okay, let's start. Let's start at the beginning. Page 1 is, this is the case, alright? Page 2 is a good continuation of that. Page 3 also lists out the case. I'm not remember memorandum, whatever. Okay, this is the beginning of the summary judgment. Okay, so then we have the table of contents, which lasts
Several
no,
pages.
The table of contents is only 2 pages. Then it starts out with precedents.
The table of authorities.
Table of authorities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pages of other court cases, all precedents that they're going to cite in this summary judgment. All right. Then you have 1, 2, 3 more pages of listed out of federal regulations.
Yeah, all the
that they're going to
statutes
cite.
and executive orders.
Which basically tells me that they want to bury this judge under a mountain of paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because she's going to have to read. She's going to have to go over every single fucking one of these. She's going to have to go over every single precedent, every single regulation, everything that they list out. She's going to have to reference every single one of these things. And her brain's going to be fried by the time she's done with it. That's why it's going to take her probably 6 to 8 months before she even makes a ruling.
Oh, right? You honestly think it's going to come that quick?
No, not really. Somebody said 6 to 8 months at one point, but yeah.
I mean, because I don't remember offhand, because like I said, it's going to take me quite some time to initially read through. That's not to necessarily comprehend, but to initially read through all of these precedent cases. It's ridiculous. Some of them date back to, like, I think one of them was like in 48. I think there was another one from 59. Hell, I think there's one from 1929 in there.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. I'm scanning the dates here. Let's see. Here's one in 76, 48.
Which references are we talking about?
We're talking about the precedents that they listed and how they're trying to bury the judge under a mountain of paperwork. She's going to have to reference all of these court cases.
Oh, yeah.
That go back, several decades to make this ruling. Okay, this is a blatant attempt for her to just say fuck it. In my opinion, okay, and I wouldn't blame her. What the fuck?
Well, see, luckily with her being a federal judge, she does have a pretty adept team to help pull out the appropriate partitions of each summary judgment of each of these precedent cases. So she'll be able to go through it. Her and her team will be able to go through it and get all the pertinent information a hell of a lot quicker than I will, because I don't have the time or the means of going to Word 19,576. Yes, they actually go that far into summary judgment of this.
And hopefully, being a she's not a Supreme Court judge, but hopefully being a federal court judge, she actually might already be familiar with some of these cases.
Oh, you can guarantee she's familiar with it. Now, there was several obscure ones that I was like, wait, what? Where the hell did this case come from?
Here's what: Turner Broadcasting Systems versus the FCC, and U.S. Cellular Corp versus the FCC. What the fuck does that have to do with this?
Cellular Corp versus FCC. That case was in reference to conditional free speech by a company.
Now,
and regulatory cost analysis benefit. That's what that case pulled from.
Now, I have to say, we've talked constantly about the arrogance of the FDA with this response. And one of the things that gets to me, I mean, we've talked about the fact that they're like, their attitude of the court shouldn't even worry about this. In addition to that, what gets to me is that there's the constant, we should assume that they are going to be noble in everything that they do. because they are so freaking noble, the FDA. Okay, yeah, it's like one of the statements on page, what page is this? 37. In short, if the court does not decide these questions now, it may never need to. Okay, these kinds of statements are throughout the document where they were like, we should be given the benefit of the doubt. They don't give it to us.
Yeah.
But we should give them the benefit of the doubt. And there are sections of it, I made notations. I was like, did Nancy Pelosi write this? You must allow the agency to act before determining their basis for action is faulty. I mean, that's the kind of feeling I'm getting about this. Did we not learn anything? Yes, to resist is futile. You're right. I'm sorry. It's just that to me is beyond arrogance.
Okay, here we go. Page 20. Notation, footnote. The FDA estimated that the cost of preparing pre-market applications would vary widely, depending on the complexity of the product, ranging from $12,000 to $482,000 per e-liquid. It didn't mention the different options, the NIC levels, PGVG ratios. Okay.
Yeah, that's per SKU. Okay, now here's the bullet point that's underwritten on that one. The fact is that estimate is based on the very bare minimum just to submit that's required. I can promise you, even with those estimates, if you submit just those bare minimums, they're going to send you a letter that's going to say, sorry, we need your HP or HCPC testing, we need this, we need that, we need... Do you know how expensive I think it's HPHC, or I can never remember that damn acronym. But the volatility exhalation study, do you know how expensive that damn study is?
I don't even know. But go ahead.
The chromatograph time alone, you're looking at $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 just for the chromatograph time.
It's insane. It's all
And actually, you know, Russ Blakeman said because unrealistic fees will force shops and companies to self-dissolve. Actually, throughout this document, that's another thing that the FDA made ultra clear, was they said, we're going
they're accelerating the consolidation.
And it's throughout here that, yeah, that's their entire point.
Yeah, they use the phrase accelerating the expected acceleration of the consolidation of the market. They use that phrase no less than 5 to 10 times.
As if the market was consolidating to begin with.
Okay, so we touched briefly, well, not really briefly, but we touched briefly on the whole deem word.
Yes.
The paragraph that caught me the best, I believe it's on the bottom of page, if memory serves, right around page 39. They start bringing up Webster v. Doe, which is a case from back in the late 80s, where the CIA fired someone, and because it was a CIA agent, their name for security reasons wasn't listed. That's why it's Doe. But anyways, because he was fired, he said that the director didn't have the authority. Well, the word deem was written into his job description. So the Supreme Court turned around and recognized that the word deem means that he does actually, he can figure out what his authority is. And that's where the FDA is pulling their deem from.
Very interesting.
Yeah, they're like I said, they are citing some of the most obscure cases. Now, the Webster v. Doe case, I mean, that's that one's textbook for a lot of different precedents because of all the implications that it had, and that's why it went all the way to the damn Supreme Court. But some of these other cases, I'm reading through the summary, kind of perusing, just quick browsing through the summary judgments, and even I'm going, wait, the fuck does this have to do with it?
Okay, so I came across this headline. This is on page 33 of the thing, but actually page 48 of the PDF. E-liquids marketed as nicotine-free may qualify as tobacco products or components or parts thereof, although the court need not reach the question.
Yep.
E-liquids that are marketed as nicotine-free may also qualify as tobacco products or components or parts thereof under certain circumstances. But the court need not reach this issue because plaintiffs make no showing that the nicotine-free e-liquids they manufacture are even subject to the deeming rule.
Yep.
I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, they start talking about the Lujan versus Defense of Wildlife statute on that one.
Wow, you did. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Standing to challenge the deeming rule's hypothetical application to nicotine-free e-liquids. Because the plaintiffs make no showing that the nicotine-free e-liquids they manufacture are components or parts even subject to the deeming rule, by alleging, for example, that those e-liquids are intended to be mixed with liquid nicotine, they fail to establish that they are harmed by the rule, thus lack standing to challenge it.
Okay. Under this context, my notation says, I think that Coca-Cola should be regulated since it can be reasonably be expected to be mixed with whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here is where they're going with that. And I've been warning people about this since the ruling was published on the 5th of May. If your e-liquid, and David, you, me, and Jen have all three talked about this in depth. If your nicotine-free liquid is sold on the same site as nicotine-containing liquid, expect it to fall under the rule.
Oh, yeah.
However, if it is sold as a standalone, on a standalone site, standalone company, where nicotine is not involved in that company, nope, won't be touched. As long as if there is no mention of nicotine whatsoever on a company's website, and they're selling e-liquid flavor base, just VG, PG, and flavoring, nope, they can't touch it.
The next paragraph says, in the deeming rule, the FDA did not purport to make all nicotine-free e-liquids subject to the Tobacco Control Act. Rather, only nicotine-free e-liquids that the rule brings under FDA's regulatory authority are those that are made or derived from tobacco, such as tobacco-flavored variety.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah, now,
because tobacco flavoring
has to come from tobacco. Exactly. Yeah, I know, because because you can't chemically synthesize the flavor of anything. Yeah, I know.
If they can do it for raspberries, for crying out loud.
Beaver booty! Gotta have some of that beaver booty!
Oh my. Yeah, yeah. I thought
but that goes back to what I've been saying over and 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 over. If it is reasonably expected to be intentionally inhaled with an ENDS device, it falls under the ruling.
Yes.
I have heard that.
Yes, I've heard that many times.
I've heard that so many times from the FDA on my phone calls to them. I am sick of hearing that damn statement.
Just because you intend to vape that 0 milligram liquid, it's a tobacco That's what they say.
If that ends device is reasonably expected to be used with nicotine, then anything used in it is considered nicotine-based or tobacco product.
Well, what are they going to do? Are they going to knock on the doors of every vapor out there?
Don't put it past them.
Do you vape 0 milligram? They're not.
I'm going to label this device with a Brothers label maker and says non-nicotine device or 0 milligram nicotine device, and I'm going to label this one with 3 milligram device, so they can't hit me with anything that I put in this one.
So for example, if they are intended or reasonably expected to be used with or for the human consumption of a tobacco
there you
product,
go.
The FDA explained that such products would be evaluated on a case-by-case basis.
And their case-by
totality of circumstances.
Yes, their case-by-case basis is: does your company sell nicotine-based liquids? Then, therefore, it is reasonably expected that your customers will likely, by some oddity, because they ordered 0 milligram from you, they're going to add nicotine themselves.
Well, see, I latched onto this idea that worst comes to worst, we could become a zero nic company.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, you absolutely can. Yeah.
But from everything I've heard from Savada, I can't, because it is reasonably expected to be used in a tobacco product, which is this.
If your company specifically states on it, as a sole entity, that this is inhaled flavoring, the components in every available SKU that we have are vegetable glycerin, propylene glycol, and natural and artificial flavors. And there is no mention of nicotine. And you put on there is no nicotine. This product is to be used as expected. Have yourself a nice little disclaimer on there, because trust me, you'll definitely need a disclaimer. Then no, they can't touch you, because you're not indicating what is to be used in.
They've made it so that there are very few loopholes, so that they don't, basically they've made it so that we don't have anything to be vague on, but they do. Okay? They've made it vague for them on purpose so that the inspectors are free to interpret things as they wish.
Yep.
But it's not vague on our end.
And here's the thing. I see a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, saying, "Oh, well, they don't have the manpower." You're right. You are absolutely correct. The FDA absolutely has no way of having the manpower to enforce this, because the FDA doesn't enforce their rulings and regulations. That's not their job. There are two departments when it comes to food and drug, particularly drug and tobacco. You have the FDA, which is the regulatory side, and you have the DEA, which is the enforcement side. The DEA doesn't handle all the enforcement themselves. They handle the major cases, but they don't handle all the cases themselves. They outsource to local levels, health units, sheriff's departments, not city police. Why, I have no idea, but sheriff departments, state police. Those are the ones that will be doing the man checks and the spot checks. And then they'll be reporting back to their state board, which will in turn report back to the DEA and the FDA. And then the DEA comes in and says, surprise,
would like, if David actually has the link available, or I can give him the link if he doesn't have it available, I would like him to play the Suck My Mod video about the real enemy of vaping.
You talking about the triangle?
Yes, the triangle of fuckery. You need to find the link. I've got it for you right here.
Yeah, go ahead and send that to him.
And I will iron it.
Actually, I do actually think that that's a pretty appropriate one. For those who don't really get, the whole concept of who our enemies are.
Volume? You need volume? David is yeah. Am I volume 2? I know David.
You're better to hear now, but yeah, David is.
I need to yell.
Sorry about that. I wasn't up in the
now that you.
microphone.
Yep, both y'all are good now.
Okay. Yeah, let me see what I can do about that. I'll run that up for you guys real quick.
Jason, guests can't link. Please, I am that link to me, and I will put it in chat for you.
Oh, man.
If you were signed in as a person, they would let you put links in the room, but I guess can't link. Prevent spam and trolls. You know what I'm saying? We don't think you're a spam or a troll, though. We love you.
No, by the way, and just for you guys that do not recognize it, this is Jason Wells, who is the acting vice president of GSFA, who has joined us. And we are very honored to have him here with us today. Thank you very much.
This link will tell you per state who the FDA has contracted to conduct inspections.
Yep.
And I can tell you here in Georgia, it's the Department of Revenue.
Yeah. Department of Revenue oversees in most states. The Department of Revenue oversees the tobacco control boards. That it all falls through their chain of command.
I would love to be able to meet with the lawyers. D. Millen, it's not actually out of scope necessarily because David is on the board of the GSFA, and the GSFA is listed as a plaintiff in the lawsuit, so it's possible that might actually happen.
You wouldn't, but David would.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean me. I'm sorry. So it is actually possible that might happen at some point in the future.
Yes, ATC is who controls ours, but Revenue is over the ATC.
Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and put this video on. If y'all want to go ahead and mute out so you can watch, I'll go ahead and get that started up for us.
I got to change batteries. I'll be back.
All right.
What's up, guys? I am Matt, back with another video. Pretty interesting little topic today. This is a video topic that I have been working on for the last couple weeks, and it deals with who is the biggest enemy of vaping. First thing that comes to mind for a lot of you would probably be big tobacco. A year or two ago, I probably would have thought big tobacco as well. But there's more to it, and believe it or not, it is not big tobacco. Now, don't get me wrong, big tobacco is not our friend. I'm not telling you big tobacco is great and awesome. Sometimes their interests align with ours, sometimes they don't. They're all about the money, just like everyone else. You know, RJ Reynolds, they've been against open tank systems. Altria has been for open tank systems. They've helped kill anti-vaping bills in Congress. They've been for other bills. You know, it's a mix. So I'm not saying that they're our friend, but there's a bigger enemy out there. And I guess what I would call our biggest enemy, and I promise this is the only time I'll swear in this video, earmuffs to your kids, the triangle of fuckery. Okay? So think of it that way. Got a triangle going on. At the top, you got the FDA. And then down here, you got the health organizations, Tobacco Center for Tobacco-Free Kids, you know, various ones. And then over here, you got Big Pharma. and they all kind of work together with a lot of things, and they've all been working together to basically try and kill vaping. I would say our biggest threat and biggest enemy out of all of them is the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. Reason being, they've been the most vocal against us. They've been all for the deeming regs. They've been wanting to ban flavors. They're against changing the grandfather date. They've been the ones that have really been sticking their nose in this whole thing and trying to get what they want. Now, one interesting thing to note is that back in 2009, there were similar regulations put on cigarettes, the cigarette industry. And Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids was kind of at the forefront of that fight then as well. One thing that was different, though, is that there was no grandfather date back then. In 2009, basically all the products on the market from there and before were fine, right? They didn't move it 8 or 9 years before like they're trying to do to us. And for some reason, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids was okay with that then, but they're not okay with that happening in our industry. So you could make an argument that Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids is even more against e-cigarettes and vaping than they were against normal cigarettes. So why is that? Let's dive deeper into that. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit right now. Now, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids was started by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Now, who started the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation? One of the founding members of Johnson & Johnson. Most of you guys have heard of Johnson & Johnson. They're a big company. They make a lot of pharmaceuticals, and they make smoking cessation devices. They make Nicorette, things like that. I think they make patches too, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. So obviously Johnson & Johnson has an interest in what's going on in the world of tobacco and what's going on when it comes to e-cigarettes, right? So they created this puppet called Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. And another thing to note is that the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation still owns like millions of shares of Johnson & Johnson. So they are, you know, attached to Johnson & Johnson, and they're attached to Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. Another thing also to note is that they give money to other health organizations, right? So Big Pharma is helping fund these health organizations. A lot of these health organizations also, in a roundabout way, get money from tobacco taxes, from the master settlement agreements. They'll say, oh, we don't take money from big tobacco, but they get it in a roundabout way. They get it through grants. You know, it goes through a couple different entities before it gets to them. It's always fishy. So do these health organizations, especially Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, really care about our own health? Probably not. Also, it's good to keep in mind that when tobacco use goes down, people quit and they start using e-cigarettes, there's less taxes coming in and less money that these governments will dole out to these different health organizations. So in a lot of ways, they kind of need the vice to still be alive for their organization to still be alive. And that's just kind of an issue with a lot of different vices. You know, when the government taxes vices, whether it be alcohol, tobacco, whatever, but then they start counting on that money, they're not really ever going to be able to do anything to get rid of those vices because they need that money, right? E-cigarettes, what they did was throw a big damn wrench into all of it and really screwed with a lot of these guys' plans. Now, like I said, Big Pharma is attached to the FDA and to these health organizations. What Big Pharma counts on is to make money off of smokers in both ways. They want you to try and quit using their cessation devices, which they know aren't really the best. They know they could probably make them better. They know that a lot of people will go back to smoking, but they want you to at least try and spend your money on those devices. Then either you quit, but you've already paid them a lot of money for their smoking cessation devices, or you continue smoking your whole life, and then you end up getting cancer or some other disease, and then you give your money to Big Pharma for all the drugs to treat that. So they want to make money on both ends of the whole smoking issue, right? That's what they're used to. It's a really nice plan if you think about it, and that's where, like I said, vaping kind of throws a wrench into that. Now, what's the connection between Big Pharma and the FDA? Well, the last FDA commissioner, she's no longer commissioner anymore, she just got charged in a RICO case for basically corruption and racketeering. Her husband was the CEO of some company that held a bunch of shares in a certain drug company. She let that certain drug company pass some drugs through that weren't as safe as the FDA was saying. Some people got sick, some people died, and now she's in kind of a world of hurt because she's getting sued over it. Now, in turn for helping out these drug companies, her husband's salary all of a sudden went way up. He went from making like $10 million to making $125 million. All because she was on the inside helping them pass drugs through that shouldn't have been going through. Now she's gone. We have a guy named Mitch Zeller who's in. What's the connection with Mitch Zeller? Mitch Zeller once lobbied for Big Pharma about tobacco dependence issues, right? Basically promoting nicotine replacement therapies. The patch, gum, all that. He's their buddy. Obviously, different people pushed for him to become FDA commissioner, knowing that they were going to need him in their pocket and need him in a powerful place because of this e-cigarette situation coming up. So do you think Mitch Zeller's going to be friendly to e-cigarettes? No. It's a big triangle, or you could just call it a vicious circle or whatever you want to call it. That's just awful, and that is where we're at today. So the point of this video is really just to kind of educate you. I know a lot of you guys probably already know a lot of this information, but to just kind of dig a little bit deeper, let you know what's really going on. Because I know a lot of times, every time I make like a advocacy video, people are just like, F big tobacco, F big tobacco. And like I said, don't get me wrong, they're not our friend either, but the biggest enemy to us right now is that triangle that I told you about, especially groups like Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. So now, knowing that we have this big concerted effort, organized effort against us, it's just one more reason for us to really band together. Our advocacy organizations have been starting to do it more. I think that they need to do it even more so. They need to all get in a room. Everybody needs to become friends, and we all need to unite as one against these, money-hungry entities against us. One other interesting thing to know, and it's something that I've wondered and something that I know a lot of other people have said. Why is the UK's government, Public Health UK, Public Health England, or whatever they call it, and the Royal College of Physicians, why are they so much more pro-vaping than our government? Why have they come out and said, vaping's 95% safer than smoking, we think that it's a good way to quit, and we think that it's something that is needed for cigarette smokers? Why do they say that in our government? It's kind of simple if you think about it. And this isn't a pro-socialized medicine or an anti-socialized medicine statement, but the UK has socialized medicine. The healthier their citizens are, the less money they spend. The less people that keep smoking and get cancer, the less money they spend on it. And so I think the UK more looks at it from that stance than our government does, because they're thinking, hey, if we can get these people to quit using e-cigarettes, we're saving money in the long run. So, it still comes down to money and whatever. Now, I'm not saying that the UK's government is just completely pro-vaping. The TPD has some really stupid things in there and some things that I don't agree with, but it's not going to completely kill vaping, and you could definitely argue that it's a lot better than what the FDA has proposed. Now, in our government, Big Pharma has control of the FDA. The FDA is basically our equivalent to Public Health England. Big Pharma has the say. It's all about money. It's all about getting people to keep buying their products. It's all about people getting sick. They need people to get sick so they can create products that will help their symptoms. Not cure them, because that's not good for business, but that will help their symptoms. And so it's pretty corrupt when you think about it, You grow up thinking some of these organizations are just all for us. I had oral cancer, like a lot of you guys know, and you think, the Cancer Society or Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, they're the good guys. They want to help us. And then you kind of learn more about it, and you realize that they're just as corrupt as anyone else in the whole system. And it's all just this big mess where everybody is in everybody's pocket, and they don't care about you or I or our health. They care about money. That's it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Feel free to give me your opinions, whether you agree or disagree. Just be nice to me and to each other. And also, big thanks to the people that have helped me with this. I talked to Dimitri, Stefan, a few other people in advocacy organizations that have kind of given me some answers along the way. And so big thanks to all of them. That about wraps it up, guys. Until next time, thanks for watching. Suck my mod.
And there we go.
So, What'd y'all think of that? I thought it was a very informative video. I know it's a little bit long, but it's 11 minutes of literally every word is needed and useful. And, there's just no part of it that was fodder. Yeah, it is. It's all about the money, Uncle Ralph. While that was going on, behind the scenes, Jason Wells, who is part of the GSFA, sent me a link that, okay, so some of you think, oh, well, the FDA doesn't have the manpower to and we already said that, yes, they're contracting other organizations per state to do this. Here's a link to compliance check inspections. You can actually see how many inspections have happened in your area.
That was last updated 7/31, I believe.
Yeah, but there actually are some inspections listed in August. But regardless, the point is I just to see, all right, there are no vape shops listed, okay, but I did a search to see how many inspections were done in Georgia for the month of July, okay. In the state of Georgia, there were 231 inspections conducted in the month of July. Now, these were all to convenience stores, gas stations, supermarkets, that kind of thing, grocery stores. But the fact is, the manpower is in place. There were 231 inspections. That's on average of like 7 or 8 a day done in the state of Georgia. And Georgia's not exactly a big state. Okay, I mean, it's really not. Okay. 231 inspections done in the state of Georgia for the month of July. All right. The manpower is in place to enforce this shit. All right. Just letting you know.
And
so actually, Georgia. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that one of the other things that the FDA did wrong in this whole thing was, of course, that
David's talking.
Can you not hear me, honey?
Turn David up.
Yeah,
David's muted.
Am I muted?
I'm hearing him just fine.
I don't hear him at all.
Make sure that you've got his window turned up.
I must. Oh, sorry. My bad.
Wow. Okay, so the FDA, one of the things that they're not supposed to do is they are not supposed to create a black market. And all along, their justification for creating a black market is that they have enforcement all the way down to the county level. So it's okay. We've got this, guys. We've got this.
Okay, so population-wise, Arkansas is considerably smaller than Georgia.
Okay. I can see that.
For the month of July of this year, Arkansas had 172 inspections.
And now, and in Arkansas, I'm sure vape shops are included, actually.
Vape shops are, it's just a matter of you'd have to go through the list because technically they didn't fall under the ruling until 8/8. So.
Okay, but I figured that because of the laws in Arkansas.
Those are being handled outside. Those aren't being handled at the shops. Those are being handled at the post office.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, now those, I really want to get my hands on those numbers, but I haven't been able to find anyone that's willing to share those statistics with me. I can speak firsthand that I've had 8 packages seized so far.
Have you?
Wow.
Yeah. I can't speak for anyone else, but I've had 8 seized.
Now, when you say seized, are there any fines involved, or they just disappear?
The fines go to the companies if there are any. But see, here's the kicker on it. Okay, so one of the seized packages was about $130 in wire from Kidney Puncher.
No.
One of the seized packages was a Goon RDA from who was that from? That was from 528. I got it directly from 528 on that one. So that one was seized.
Where did the wire come from?
Kidney Puncher.
That's not even a vape company, is it?
Kidney Puncher does sell e-liquid.
Okay.
Now, Kidney Puncher has modified their business model in that they do not officially ship to Arkansas anymore anything because of all of this mess. However, now that because I have wholesale accounts now with Kidney Puncher, they ship wholesale accounts via FedEx. So, and I haven't had a single problem getting one of those shipments. Anything that comes through USPS, however, most definitely is handled.
Yeah, wires.
And under the law, only e-liquid is banned on importation into Arkansas. Just to kind of get some clarification on that.
Well, good. I'm glad that doesn't affect us in any way. So now one of the things that got me when I was going through this thing, and I initially called complete BS on it, was in a few points in here, a few times they pointed out that nicotine liquids or zero nic liquids were found to contain nicotine.
60.
60 was the biggest offender. Yes.
Oh my god, that was a nightmare.
I'm gonna pull up this data right here for everybody to view and enjoy here.
Yeah, 60 was a friggin' nightmare.
Yes, they are. Okay, guys, I'm just going to pull this up over us. Let's see.
While he's pulling that up, guys. Okay, so 60 is a e-liquid manufacturer primarily based in China. 90% of it is based in China. The other 10%, I believe, is in Indochina. However, the vast majority of all manufacturing regarding vaping equipment, liquid, etc., 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 as you know, is it comes from Shenzhen. 60 plays under the radar. They're actually based out of excuse me if I butchered the pronunciation, but Xizang, I believe is how it's pronounced. The province of Xizang. It's actually 60 City in Xizang. So they're away from all of the regulation, what little they have, but away from all the inspections to where they play by their own rules. And what David's about to show you will show you exactly how far by their own rules they play.
Look at this. The 60 right here, one of their supposed zeros was at 21.80 milligrams per cartridge.
That's 2.18% of the liquid was nicotine, people.
Yeah, now look, on the contrary, look at these 24 numbers. Oh, I was wrong about that range, Aries. Look, the lowest part of the range was 0.09.
Yeah. I thought the range was a little off when you were bringing it back up, and I thought I could have swore it was a bigger range than that, but
that's an incredible range.
You got the data pulled up already.
Okay, and this comes to one of the points that I have stressed, which is titration. Titration is important with juice companies.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're running a juice company and you are not actively practicing titration, start now. Do it. Okay,
there's a reason why when you take, matter of fact, I think it's taught in Intro to Chemistry. Intro to Chemistry, which, you know, you don't have to have a chemistry background when mixing e-liquids, but it definitely definitely helps. And they teach you about titration points and how to properly measure chemicals within a solution. And that's what David's referring to, is knowing how to test your nicotine levels, to know that 100 milligram nicotine that you just bought is actually 100 milligram nicotine.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I have personally picked up bottles of 100 milligram nicotine back when we were using 100 milligram, that using titration measured out to 135 milligrams. Now, for me, that was a present. That was 35% more.
Right. But, when you get your Joe Blow average home user that thinks, oh, well, I ordered 100 milligram, it's 100 milligrams, so I'm going to put 3% in. Yeah, that's not 3 milligram anymore, Bob.
No, it's not. And especially for any of you folks that are vaping the higher levels, just imagine at the 24 milligram. Holy crap! It's nowhere near.
Actually,
you're
more
up
like
in the 30s.
32.
Yeah, you're up in the 30s at that point. Titration is very important.
Titration is more accurate than a nic kit.
Yeah,
way more accurate.
Yeah, learn to do titration. I told Aries this earlier. I am going to I'm going to give priority to redoing my titration video, because this is a key point that the FDA is hounding with this. And like I said, I thought that it was complete BS, because I know that our practice inside the lab is that we have separate containers for non-nic versus nic to begin with. If you have a zero nic juice that you order from us, it never comes in contact with anything that ever had nicotine along the way. Okay, these containers...
Wait, you mean you do GMPs even though they're not actually spelled out in the regulations?
What in the world is that? Yeah, exactly.
Aries, we use gloves and hairnets too. And David has beard nets.
Okay, guys, yes, we are being sarcastic, most definitely. Just spell it out for those that aren't familiar, because not everyone is familiar with what we're referring to. The reason why they don't use the same containers to mix zero nic versus any other nic strength is to prevent cross-contamination. Because I don't care how well you wash out your graduated cylinder, there's a chance that some nicotine will stay in the graduated cylinder. It's low, but there is a chance. And David, if I can make a suggestion, I don't know if you have the time or the desire to do this, but every time, or maybe even once a month, because I know you don't get nicotine every month, but once a month, do a titration video and upload it to the site, showing some sort of timestamp, be it, here's a copy of today's newspaper, so you know that this was done on today's date.
We don't actually test the 1,000 milligram. What we do is we test the dilutions that we make from the 1,000 milligram.
Right.
And
yeah,
that
because testing 1,000 milligram is one
dangerous.
hazardous.
Yeah. So after David suits up in his biohazmat suit, he actually makes pre-mixed gallons of our most popular combinations. 3 and 6 of the most popular PG-VG ratios. We have gallons of that already made, and he also makes up smaller, like liters of 100 milligram for mixing juices that are outside the normal, the most common ones.
And also, by the way, but to tap on what you're talking about here, Aries, we also do put a timestamp on every single one of those. We got a price gun with a little date on there. So we use that and put the label on each one so that we're able to track the time that those were mixed. And upon mixing, I was telling, and I mean, this isn't the kind of thing I would usually talk about, but I was recently mixing up, okay guys, 900 milliliters of PG mixed with 100 milliliters of 1,000 milligram nic should equal 100 milligrams per milliliter. Am I correct?
Should.
Yes. Now, I will tell you that one time, and only one time, did that ever work out perfectly. That was last week, and as I told the GSFA...
he screamed. He was like, woohoo!
As I told the GSFA board meeting, I was ready to throw a kegger right then and there. It was an incredible thing. It does not happen most of the time. It's usually over.
Yeah, real world math versus theoretical math. Yeah.
It's usually over by at least 9 or 10 milligrams per milliliter. Usually it's more along the lines of 20 to 30, like I was saying. So that makes me think that what's happening is when you're buying this 100 milligram from a third party, that they're using, as you refer it,
NIC kits.
Well, yeah, like the NIC kits. When you order that, what you're getting is somebody that just threw 900 milliliters of PG together with the 100 milliliters of 1,000 milligram nicotine. Wow, getting your
Called it a day.
Yeah.
Well, what we're referring to as NIC kits are the testing kits that they sell.
And you know the testing
titration is far more accurate.
Yeah, learning proper titration is a good thing. I do have information on that for anybody who's interested. Feel free to PM me, and I will send you any information you want on that. In the meantime, I will put together a new video demonstrating it and showing you, providing links for where you can buy these components, primarily Amazon. And
now you used the bromelain blue test, right?
Yes.
Yes, bromothymol, yeah.
Bromothymol blue, along with
sulfuric acid.
Thank you very much. It's the same kind of stuff you have for pool tests, and things of that nature. You do that. Total Hatred, send me a message, David at HiggyCigs.com. And I will send you information. I also have a spreadsheet that I will make readily available for you that will provide you with information for dilution. Okay, so that way, let's say you do mix it up and you get 120 milligrams, you will know exactly how much to pour out into a separate container and replace with how much PG, for example, whether you're doing PG or VG base, how much to replace it with. And that data can be extremely valuable and time-saving to you. So any other juice makers, this is where I am not going to say, no, you're my competitor, so you're on your own. No, we're all together on this, guys. And the FDA is after us.
Stashbox WebMD says that you have bubonic plague.
That's correct.
I got so distracted by that, I completely forgot where I was about to go.
This is important, though, because one of the references that they continually make in here, in this document, okay, I know for a fact that the majority of juice companies out there go low on their nicotine values. Okay, I am not a fan of this. Okay, now granted, if you want to, if it's versus going over, fine. But when you're always aiming ultra low on your nicotine values, No, that's not cool. Okay, and by the way, the FDA is calling that out because they're talking about the ranges. They're not telling us whether they're over or under. Most of the time, as you can see in that document that I pulled up previously, let me see if I can pull that up again. No, of course not. What they show there is that the numbers are usually low. Let me see. Yeah. Take a look at this. Where it was supposed to be 16 milligrams is 4.2. Whereas 12 milligrams is 4.3. 18, 6.8. It's usually not over unless it's the 0 milligram, which isn't supposed to have any nicotine at all. Which is just irresponsible.
Even then it was like 0.1, which,
No, it was 21.8 milligrams.
Yeah, look at the 60s.
Well, 60. Okay, I was looking at the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, 60. That one is stupid. I don't even know how that.
And by the way, 60 is an
16
Asian
is 0.09.
company and should not be taken into account in these videos, in my opinion. If you're buying Asian juice, stop now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Decang, like I was telling David, there's a reason why Decang is not the #1 juice player in the market anymore. They're still around, but there's a reason why they're not the #1 player in the market anymore. Now, granted, it's been too long to even think about as to when my last chemistry class was. But as a general rule of thumb, lab protocol indicates that your measurements should be within 1 to 3%. At least that was the standards that we followed. We followed. Was between 1 to 3% of what you were aiming for.
That's correct. There is a range.
Those are your acceptable ranges. And
from what I gather too, the test itself is within 1 to 3% accurate.
Yeah.
So even if it tests out at 3, you're aiming for 3, you get 3. That's still a possibility of being 1 to 3% off.
Right.
So you don't want to. I mean, the point is that the test is 1 to 3% off. So you need to make sure that your nicotine hits the mark, because it could be off by 1 to 3%.
Either way.
Anyway.
Right.
So
it's plus
or minus. Don't
go
ahead and aim for plus or minus 3%.
Right.
Because your test might be off 3%. So now you're 6% off.
But the thing is, should you aim to be on the low side of that? Absolutely, I agree. You should be on the low side of that. But at the same time, what I'm against is lowballing it by 2 or 3 milligrams, that kind of thing. That to me is an horrible process. I will have nothing to do with that. You want to get as close as possible. And when you start dealing with the lower milligram levels from 0 to I want to say to 12.
6.
It may be 6. but there you're talking about plus or minus 1 milligram. 1 milligram. Okay, which is significant when you're dealing with 3. Okay, but
yes,
you're talking about plus or minus 1 milligram, whereas when you get up to testing 100 milligram, you're talking about plus or minus 3 milligrams. But I also that same spreadsheet that I'll make available also does have all of that information, the different levels of testing based on what level of nicotine you're aiming for, whether you're testing the 100 milligram or you're testing 3 milligram. Okay, and everywhere in between, and it will also tell you, the differences in the titration tests. And I really need to put together a new video for that, because the video will definitely help you. It will help you understand what's involved and just how easy it is to do, honestly.
Yeah, titration, working with titration, especially when you're doing bromethylene blue titrations, are not difficult. They're really not. I can teach literally middle schoolers and have taught middle schoolers how to do them. They're very, very simple tests.
Yeah.
It's try to avoid spilling the hydrochloric on yourself or sulfuric.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you that's bogus too, because the level of concentration that I'm using, which is the
the mole count
0.0009, it's less.
Yeah, the mole count's minute.
Yeah, the pH factor's below orange juice.
Yeah.
So the most dangerous stuff you're dealing with is the nicotine, folks.
But I mean, you got to realize during my training, we were using the big boys.
Yeah.
Where it would go through your gloves and yeah.
Yeah, but there's no need to do that when you're dealing with levels up to 100 milligram.
Right.
Beyond 100 milligram, I would want to increase the pH factor.
See, and what gets me is I have heard so many people over the past 3 months talk about how they're going to start ordering 1,000 milligram nicotine. One, good luck with that, because you have to have an FDA certified lab to be able to acquire, as a general rule, 1,000 milligram nicotine. 2, that shit will kill you just when you open the container if you don't have the proper safety precautions in place.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's basically what I'm looking at as well. When you're dealing with 1,000 milligram nicotine, which I use, that's the problem with it. Is that it's highly toxic. The fumes are toxic. You get a few drops on you. That's enough to drop you.
Yes. Yeah. Always. If you're gonna mix with 1,000 milligram nicotine, be right next to a water source.
And you should do that for 100 milligram too. Really.
Well, yeah, you should do it with 100 milligram. Now 30 milligram and 48 milligram but 100 milligram, yeah, you definitely need to be really close to a water source. But with 1,000 milligram, you literally need to be like right next to it.
Yeah, and you need to be
great ventilation.
Yeah, you need to have ventilation. You need to have a respiratory. You need the
9N respirator.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm using, and Total Hatred, I absolutely agree with you. Now, I will tell you from my experience that somewhere between 150 and 200 is when the fumes become an issue. Okay, 100 milligram nic is perfect for DIY. Why? Because there are no fumes to worry about. You can stick your face up into, and you don't want to get it on your face, but you can stick your face up to it and smell it, and it's not going to cause you any harm whatsoever. You will get the smell of nicotine so that you understand what that odor is, which is important, especially if you start working with 1,000 milligram, because guess what? If you start smelling that while you're working, it's time to change your filter.
Okay, I want to address what DeMellon just said. Okay. So DeMellon just said, I read in the document that Nicopure spent 180 grand on testing. The FDA said that was a good start. That goes back to what I was saying, about probably 25, 30 minutes ago. The FDA has issued baseline requirements for submission for the PMTAs, and they have said very, very plainly, odds are we're going to send you back a letter asking for more information, because they know damn well that if they list out every quantifier that they're looking for in testing, that they can't say, oh well, testing on a cost $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 total. No, your testing is going to be between $3 and $5 million per SKU. So no, expect that number to grow substantially. Nicopure submitted that initial testing report to prove a point. like I said, chromatograph alone, chromatograph time for HPHCs, you're looking at anywhere from $700,000 to $900,000 for chromatograph per SKU.
I'm still skimming over this document, and I mean, some of this stuff just
I'm not opening the document back up today. My head's already.
I hear
Page
you.
here you go. Page 65.
I'm this far from just closing down the cast. It's getting to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Oh no, go ahead. I'm just saying I'm not looking at it.
Yeah. There is no basis to second guess the FDA's determination that the benefits of the deeming rule justify its cost.
Well,
What do you mean we don't have to second guess you?
what they're implying is because by law they don't have to do a cost analysis benefit for this, and they spell that out a dozen times.
Yeah, didn't they say that the cost of benefit analysis was only there for part of it because the executive order called for it?
Right.
But they estimated at $2 per year. Like I
Yeah.
said, even if we raised our prices by $2 a bottle, it ain't gonna cover this.
No, the $2 per year is the testing, the baseline testing only. It's not taking into account the PMTA application. It's not taking into account all the extra testing that they're going to send you a letter for, probably at the 11th month of your 12-month examination period, saying, we need this test. We realize that it's going to take 3 years to complete that, but you have 1 month.
Oh, and by the way, I wanted to answer a question that was asked here a little while ago. How are DIYers impacted by the FDA deeming regs? And the fact of the matter is, DIYers are not directly impacted, except
They're
by the
indirectly.
fact, yeah, you're impacted by the fact that nicotine is going to end up becoming a black market product.
It's going to be a high price, low availability commodity.
Starting in 2018. At least
Camille, and
that-
I'll get to that in just a moment.
And and by the way, what I was saying before was that between 150 and 200, you were saying a doctor's mask. As somebody was saying, a doctor's mask wouldn't be sufficient. Actually, at the 200 level, you can wear a standard, just a standard mask.
Oh yeah,
for that
at
level.
200, yeah, 1,000. No, you need a 9N respirator.
Yes, you do. And but at the 200 level, you need at least that mask. And yeah, keep it at 100. 100's a great level for DIYers, and keep it out of reach of kids. Period.
Okay, what DeMillen is referring to is in 2 locations that I saw. They cited Dr. Barcelina's study, indicating, the aldehydes and the formaldehydes and the carbonyl compounds that were found. They're taking the study 150% out of context, because when he mentions those products, the lead up to it is stating, under the testing scenarios of Chang, these were produced. I agree. However, and this is the part that was left out, however, in a real world scenario, vapors would not be able to tolerate that type of vaping, because the body reacts violently to those situations.
That's right. And as I pointed out before, this was a 2.1 ohm resistance coil. Now that's that may be a different study though. That's Chang's 2014 study. Is that right?
One of Chang's studies that I saw, because Chang's done 3 or 4 of them. one of Cheng's studies, he was running it was like a 1.5 ohm coil, and he was pushing it out at 15-second inhalations, and the voltage on the damn thing was like, I want to say it was like 18 volts. Okay, first of all, every mod that I know of, every regulated mod of any indication, now mech mods obviously are excluded from this, has a 10-second cutoff device built into it. They overrode the 10-second cutoff system. The devices that I know that they tested, which were primarily Cigalites, won't come anywhere close to 10 to 15 volts without extreme modification.
That's correct. Most people can't.
Yeah, exactly, Ralph. Most people, I don't know. Michael Phelps can't inhale for 15 seconds.
I bet you he can, and I can.
I bet you he can't. because I know what the lung capacity of a Olympic level competitive swimmer. I know what their lung capacity is, and no, they can't.
Yeah, 15
swimmers.
seconds
Swimmers are trained and have an inherent knack for taking in large quantities of volume in extremely short periods of time.
Right. And seniors are as well. So, yeah, it's absolutely, usually the inhale is going to be the short end. But,
I mean, my longest inhale, now granted, I'm running very, very specialized equipment. But my average inhale is, I don't know, I'd say 4 seconds at the most. Maybe 5.
I know I've exceeded the 10-second cutoff myself.
I have too, but not when I'm running my setups.
Not on a day-to-day basis, that's for sure. That's either a really, really stressed situation, or playing around and goofing off, honestly.
My tank's over there on my other table. I've got the old Kanger Turbo. It was the tank was this big around, and it stood about that tall. And it had 2 coil heads that went into it. Each coil head had dual coils. And I ran 48 milligram e-liquid in that tank. I still run 48 milligram e-liquid in that tank for my really, really stressful days. And I can take about, about 3 or 4 minutes worth of puffs off of it, and I'm good for the day.
For the day?
For the day.
You need a Juul.
Yeah, the Juuls. Oh, but then we get into the debate about closed systems versus open systems.
You know what? Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. Okay, closed system versus open system. How many fucking times do I have to say, I don't care what the hell you vape, I don't care how you vape it, I don't care if it's a 0.1 or a 10 ohm coil. If it's safe and it works for you, screw everyone else.
There you go.
However, you should have the option to choose what works best for you.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
Last time I checked, this is America.
Okay. The FDA might object to that.
Does that qualify under risk modifier?
Okay, now Ariesjj, you told us earlier that it was going to take you 4 or 5 days to really go through this thoroughly.
Minimum 4 or 5 days, and that's if I dedicate nothing but to that.
So I am going to suggest that we do a follow-up on this, maybe in the next week or two.
Give me at least 2 weeks because I've got some other things that I've got going on.
Okay, and also some other people that I've been talking to behind the scenes who have said that they could have been here with more notice. I want to get them in here to contribute their thoughts as well.
Well, I mean, I would love to get Greg in here. I would love to get, and Greg still hasn't seen my message.
I'm hesitant about bringing Greg in for more than a few minutes, only because he is so important to this case. And
I wouldn't want him tipping his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, he's not going to do anything that's going to tip his hand. But he can issue clarification.
Yes, and that I would like. That I would love. I would be concerned about us pushing him too far, and it would be my desire to do so. Honestly.
Well, see, that's like I had a doctor's appointment in Missouri yesterday. And while I was up there, I stopped off at one of the local vape shops to see how they were handling the regulations. And this elderly woman came walking in. And I would say if she wasn't 90, she was 89. Okay. Had an ego pen. Couldn't get it to work. She tries passing it to the employee behind the counter, who immediately takes 2 steps back, puts his hands in the air, and says, per the FDA regulations that took effect on August 8th, 2016, I am not authorized to touch that device. The owner happened to be in there, who I am very, very good friends with. I looked at her. I looked at the elderly woman. I said, by law, he can't touch that device. I'm not an employee of this shop. By law, I'm allowed to touch that device. May I see it and I'll show you what's wrong.
Actually, I beg to differ there, and that's actually a point that a lot of vape shops are overly scared of, and but it's the
once they've bought it.
And yeah, a lot of people have been trying to get the word out that look, once a customer has purchased it, and if they give you permission to mess with their device, you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to do so.
You can't coin.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me caveat that, because per the FDA, you are absolutely correct. 110% correct on that. However, states have implemented their own regulations based on the deeming rule.
Right. So
okay, I can't speak for Missouri State. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
For instance, Arkansas, according to the FDA, I have until December 31st, 2016 to register as a manufacturer, and I can continue to build in the meantime. However, according to the state of Arkansas, they sent me a notification that told me that I had 15 business days to register and obtain manufacturer license, manufacturer wholesale license, and manufacturer retail license, which comes up to just over $2,000 a year. Plus, in addition, I have to have a building specifically allocated to the business that has to be able to be inspected 24/7, 365. I have to be able to be there to unlock the doors for them to inspect within 10 minutes or less. And there cannot be any form, fashion, shape, whatever of a residence within that building. So no, in the state of Arkansas, we can't touch them. In the state of Missouri, they can't touch them. Even though the FDA says you have until December 31st. and anything that they pass you can work on. State law has come in and said, no, sorry guys, you can't.
And there you go. And that's the thing. You've got the states to worry about as well as the whole federal thing. And it's going to be an abysmal battle that we have ahead of us, folks.
Well, and beyond the FDA regulations, you've got states that are pushing through. Okay, so you got Pennsylvania that just added a 40% wholesale tax and a 40% floor tax, which I talked to a Pennsylvania shop owner. It's almost 2 weeks ago now, and they said that they're going to mark down all of their $100+ mods to $1 to offset and minimize their tax burden.
But it's a wholesale tax.
To which I explained to him, you do realize that it's based on your wholesale pricing of what you paid for it, not what your retail price is. Because his understanding was that because he had all these $100, $200, $300 mods, he was going to have to pay 40% tax on these $100, $200, $300 retail mods. I tried to explain to him. I said, okay, let's say that your $100 mod, you paid $40 for it from your distributor. You have to pay 40% tax on that $40. Which comes out to what, $18? I said, and if you need to bump up your profit margin, to maintain profit margins, if you need to bump it up that extra couple bucks, said a lot of shops are swallowing it, but not every shop can for obvious reasons. I said, you carry 300 bottles at any given time of various e-liquids. I know what you pay wholesale for those e-liquids, because he was trying to tell me that his e-liquid retail tax, wholesale tax, was going to be something like $40,000. I'm like, no, it's not. And I told him, I said, if you don't know who Gypsy is, Nat Beecham, introduce yourself to her. She will get you clarified.
There you go. Well, I move that we pick up from here or wherever in segment 2, part 2 of this, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, because this cast is almost 4 hours long. Ain't nobody gonna watch this on YouTube.
It's two. We're only 2 hours over.
That's what I said. This cast is almost 4 hours long. Ain't nobody gonna watch this on YouTube.
Well, I'm hoping that we've relayed some good information. I hope.
I'm Klonopin heavy right now, so I'm kind of.
I'm good.
Amen.
You're like, I'm relaxed. I'm good.
I'm ready to go to bed and maybe get some sleep because I got 45 minutes to sleep. When David got a hold of me yesterday, and because I was out of town all day long, I hadn't heard the news. And David's like, we've got a special edition of Trench in the morning. I want you on the show. Like, I'm on hiatus. I don't know if I can emotionally handle it. And he's like, the FDA responded. I'm like, wait, what?
Excuse me?
Yeah,
so I went and quickly perused the first couple pages of the response. I was like, David, I will find a way.
And I
may be medicated.
Stayed up all night reading it.
I may be medicated, but I will find a way.
And I thoroughly appreciate that. You have contributed a lot.
Immensely.
Yeah, this is information we all need to be familiar with. As boring and detailed as this
And
crap
dry.
is. Oh, it's so dry. But we need to start trying to digest that more, even when it goes against our own grain, because this is the kind of crap that we're having to stand up to, folks. This is where the battle lines are drawn. It's in all this legalese crap, and you've got to start whittling into it and understanding it. And
Well, and it's not just understanding it, it's understanding all the reference and the precedent pulls and the executive orders and how they cross-relay. And it takes, not just anybody can read a legal brief and fully comprehend what's being... As much as I've done, when I worked for FedEx, dealing with legal briefs and reading and regulations and rulings, and I considered myself apt. I was functional in my process. I am not a pro, because I have to read things, especially legalese. I have to read it 2-3 times to fully grasp everything that is going on in it.
I can read it 5 times and still not grasp it all.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
yeah, and yes, what who was it that said that? Yeah, DeMillan, you're right. The FDA thinks they are untouchable, and what Aries has pointed out here, very adequately, is that makes absolutely 0 sense, especially against this judge, because they've been proven otherwise before by her.
Well, the primary the primary case, the Satara case that they keep referring back to, was not Judge Jackson. The
Right.
Satara case was from what was her name? It was crap, I can't remember.
Well, right, not that case, but this judge has put the FDA in their proper place more than once.
Oh, Williams, that's it. Judge Williams. Judge Williams was the one that ruled on the Satara case, which basically slapped the shit out of the FDA. And that's what they keep quoting back to. A case that they lost.
Yeah, which kind of kills their arguments
working.
about it being outside of the court's jurisdiction.
Yeah, they didn't just lose; they got manhandled in that case.
They got spanked.
Yes, they did. All right, guys.
Yeah, they went 50 Shades of Grey on that one.
That's one way to put it. Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, on that note, I think we should go ahead and wrap it up. I know that Jen is starving. And I am as well.
And since I am on a low carb thing, I don't have anything here to eat.
Yeah, so I've got to feed my wife.
David has to bring me food.
Are y'all getting me something too?
Hey,
we'll just ship it on up there to
we'll
Arkansas.
ship it. We'll FedEx overnight.
Yeah,
There you go. You may have to heat
Yeah,
it
we
up.
don't have a FedEx account. We're gonna go priority USPS, so there's no telling when it'll get there.
Might be stuck.
Email it; it'll make it quicker.
There you go. Oh, we're the replicators. We need that technology. Oh.
Look, so I actually, this is just some closing thoughts here, though. Okay, this is why it's more important than ever. Okay, for you to get active. Okay, get active, get involved. Okay, go to findmyrep.com. That will tell you who your representative is. Contact them, call them, have lunch with them. Okay, tell them to support the Coal Bishop Amendment. That is not a solution, okay? It is a way to buy us more time, all right? Because the Coal Bishop Amendment will move the predicate date to August 8th, and that means everything that's on the market right now can stay on the market without any pre-market approvals, all right? And that gives us more time
May
to
10th.
fight the regs. Is it May 10th? Okay.
May 10th.
Join CASA.
Join CASA.
The link's
All
down
right,
there.
They will tell you when there are calls to action in your state. What did I just read? Oh, crap.
Ohio.
Ohio, yes. It was Ohio is proposing a 17% tax on products.
Okay. Let me respond. I know people hate the word taxation. I get it. If they stop at 17%, I'm fine with a 17% tax. I really am.
But
If they can get it and have just a 17% tax, I'm fine with that.
But it's all those clarifiers there that if they keep it, they never do. That's
Yes,
the problem
I
with
know
government.
Give them an inch,
you know.
they'll take a mile.
Because you've got Connecticut that's looking at a 90%. You got Montana that's looking at like 92 or 95%. You got, I'm sorry, no, Vermont was 90. Connecticut's like 92. Arkansas is like 90. That'll be proposed in November or December. Yeah. And now they're talking about modifying Pennsylvania to a per mil tax that even outdoes the 40% wholesale tax.
Well, 5 cents per mil.
Wow.
Yeah. And which state was it that sent out those questionnaires as well to all the
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma
Yes.
sent out questionnaires to all of the candidates to find out where they stand on vaping. So the voters there, the vaping voters, excuse me, are going to have full clarification on that, and we need to see that start happening in every state.
And the thing is it's a wonderful idea, but is there enough time? I mean, that's the thing. If you have a state chapter and you're a member of it, contact them. Let them know that this needs to happen, because I'll be honest with you, I've been bugging David for a year now. I said, I know election's coming up. I don't know who the fuck to vote for. I don't know who's even going to be on the ballot. How am I supposed to do any research to find out who I want to vote for? I mean, because on the ballot, it's going to come down to like county level shit, like
Yep.
sheriff and mayor and stuff like that. I don't know who to vote for. I want to know who to vote for. So this needs to happen in every state, and that needs to be like a priority project, because it's going to take time to put together the questionnaire. It's going to take time to distribute it amongst the different politicians. It's going to take time to get the information back from the politicians, provided they bother to answer the questionnaire at all. And then it's going to take time to distribute it to everybody, in time for the election. Okay, so that means we got less than 3 months.
Yes, and
to
join
do a
your
project
local,
like that.
join and support your local SFA. That's going to help as well.
Okay, because David added that, I want to make 3 points. 1, elections aren't every 4 years. Elections are every year. And
Sometimes
every election.
more than one a year. I mean,
Right, and
more than
every
one
election matters, because some of these decisions are all the way down on the city level. 2, if you live in Arkansas, don't even worry about contacting your congressional members. There's a team of about 30 of us that have been calling every legislative member for the state of Arkansas, both on the state and federal level, for the past 3 weeks. And now everyone that we talked to has said, stop calling us. We're not interested. Literally, stop calling us. We're not interested. 3.
that's nice and hopeless.
Oh yeah. 3, be thankful if you have an SFA, because in the state of Arkansas and 1 or 2 other states, from what I understand, trade associations and smoke-free associations have been outlawed. They've been disbanded and outlawed.
Awesome. Okay. If you don't have an SFA in your state, okay, get in touch with Greg Connolly with the AVA.
I talk
Get in
with
touch
Greg
with
fairly
Fada.
often.
get in touch
Stefana's
with.
not allowed here.
Well, I'm just saying, unless you're in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And Indiana, I imagine. Get in touch with people and find out how maybe you can lead the charge on distributing a questionnaire like this. People need to know who to vote for. Okay? People need to know. I know, Uncle Ralph, that in it itself is illegal. I mean, how can you outlaw?
Should be.
How can you outlaw a trade association like that? I really.
They probably think that it competes with public health.
They've got their loopholes. Yep. They were outlawed. They were disbanded and outlawed.
Yeah. I don't see how that managed to pass, but okay. You know.
Multiple violations.
They managed to pass the laws that said that you can't buy vapor products online. So I don't know.
Yeah, because that's not a violation of the Interstate Commerce Act at all. But no, it's because the trade associations were warned multiple times to negate their use of risk-modifying words, and the associations ignored those warnings. And so the state came in and said, okay, due to continued discompliance, you're gone.
Yeah. Well.
There you go.
But yeah, we are. I mean, I know that Georgia's working on it. I know that I don't know about other states. I'm sure Tennessee is. I'm sure Kentucky is. But definitely, we would like every state to do this questionnaire to all the politicians and find out who we want to be voting for. Yeah, this is going to be a one-issue voting election. Absolutely.
Yes, Dammers, we have. The press is in the legislature's pocket.
There you go.
So, as a little more of a upbeat note, if you have not already, scroll down a little bit. You see a green thumb there. Like us, subscribe to us, friend us. You'll get notifications when we have shows going on here at the other side all the time. If you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see our schedule and a little product placement. You can always use coupon code OTHERSIDE to get 15% off your order at HiggyCigs.com. But yeah, get active, guys. Get mad, get active. It helps, okay? If we all have to come together and do this, right? We all have to.
That's exactly.
Well, and if you use the code Jen Loves You, you get like I hear you get like 98% off your order.
Lies, it's all lies.
But yeah, you guys, we will plan on the next cast. Will be on YouTube, hopefully under their new infrastructure. So hopefully everything will work properly next time, and we'll probably do it at a later period of time in the day so that we can.
Yeah, because waking up and having to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 6 a.m.
Oh, tell me about it. I do it every Friday.
You're on air at 7 a.m.
Well, I'm up by 5, so.
Yeah, but for me to be on air at 6, I have to be up at 4.
Good point. Fair point.
Okay, so on that shitty song that's playing, let's go.
Oh, is there
we love you guys.
happy song played?
Thank you for hanging out with us for the last 4 hours. We love you. Get active. Don't wait. Okay, get active. The time is clicking down every day. All right, today's the 19th.
Just gonna have to wait till after my nap.
That means that we have 719 days left. Okay. Something doesn't happen in the next 719 days, vaping's gone forever.
There you go. You all have a great time. We'll see you next time.
Vaping as we know it.
Vaping as we know it. That's exactly right. Everybody have a great weekend.